Cougars. I am Jason Wiersema. This is Tankers Fantasy Football, and we are going to get right into some Week 7 waiver wires to help you go over with all these bye weeks and injuries mounting up. Before we get into that, you know how we do here at Tankers Fantasy Football. Maybe you throw us a subscription, maybe you don't. Maybe you throw us a like, maybe you don't. Maybe you go fuck yourselves. All right, we're going to get right into it. We're going to lead it off with some Benny Snell. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers are probably on bye, so you're probably going to be able to go out there and get Benny Snell fairly cheap, especially if you're the James Conner owner. I would definitely go out there and invest in some handcuff with some Benny Snell. He went out there, he got the 17 carries for the 75 yards, and I'm not going to lie, coming out of college, coming into the draft, I wasn't really that high on Benny Snell. He's kind of sluggish, kind of a plotter. He looked a little bit more spry than I expected last night, so I am kind of all in on this bye week waiver wire ad of Benny Snell. I mean, you can probably get him for basically nothing since he's on bye, and people are just going to think that, James Conner's most likely okay. He just got a little quad injury. He'll probably be able to heal up over the bye week, but he has been dinged up in 3 games already this season and has been forced to miss time in 3 separate games, has James Conner. So if you are the James Conner owner, you must go out there and get you some Benny Snell because, after that bye, they got the Dolphins. So, he is definitely worth a stash. We got some Mark Walton. He got the start somehow for the Dolphins. He actually had double-digit PPR points. I was versus the Redskins. Kenyon Drake's may somehow still be traded before this is all said and done. And I know Kalen Ballage did somehow get the touchdown in the game. He only had played 5% of snaps, but he was the one who got the touchdown somehow, some way. But you're in desperation need of an RB3, I would give Mark Walton a look. And the next guy we got, the power of the urn has resurrected Adrian Peterson. Callahan has resurrected him. He gave him 23 carries, and he turned those 23 carries into 118 yards versus the lowly Miami Dolphins out there. I know he had that goal line fumble to kind of shit all over his day being absolutely sexy deluxe out there. But if you're looking at Adrian Peterson on your waiver wire, I might go ahead and leave him there because his next 3 matchups are tough as nails. He's got the Niners, who are giving up the fewest points to running backs. Then he's got the Vikings, who are giving up the 3rd fewest points to running backs. Then he goes on the road to Buffalo versus that daunting Bills D before he goes on the bye. So we're talking about the next 4 weeks. Adrian Peterson is going to be virtually useless to you. So let somebody else go out there and spend the waiver dollars on him. And if you already have him on your team, I would look to sell Adrian Peterson. All right, we got some Alexander Madison. Saw just fewer rush attempts than Cooks out there. He had 14 to Cooks 16. And he turned that into more yards than Cook. He had 63 rush yards compared to Cooks 41. I don't know if this is moving more toward a timeshare or it was just that the Eagles were stymieing Dalvin Cook, so the Vikings went more of the change of pace to kind of catch the Eagles off guard out there. But he's definitely worth an ad in this thin running back waiver wire situation in Week 7. We got some Henderson for the Rams. He played 32% of the snaps. Malcolm Brown played 68. Nobody on the Rams offense really got anything sexy deluxe going for you at all this last week. So I don't know. You definitely, if you are the Todd Gurley owner or if you're just looking for a deep bench stash to maybe somehow hold out some hopes, maybe the guy that drafted Henderson in the 7th, 8th round of your redraft league gave up hopes on him because he hasn't really been doing. He only played 2 snaps on the season before this game. So he might be out there in your waivers, and if he is, I would go ahead and give him a look. One more guy who's most likely already owned, but if he's not, you need to go out there and snatch him up absolutely right now. I'm willing to put about probably maybe even 30% of my fab on this guy if he is available in your league. Devin Singletary, he's got the Dolphins coming up. The Bills are coming out of the bye. He's got the Dolphins coming up. Then he's got the Patriots, which is a little bit tough as nails. But then after that, sweet, sexy deluxe matchups versus the Redskins, Browns, and Dolphins again. So 4 of the next 5 weeks, Devin Singletary has plus matchups. If he's still out there in your waiver wire, I'd go out there and get me a little taste. All right, moving to some wide receivers. Got some Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder. These guys might be already rostered on your team, but if they are, I'd also maybe take a look at old man D-Train, Demaryius Thomas out there. He went for first 62. And then he got some pretty tasty matchups coming up. I mean, we got some games versus the Redskins. You got games versus the Giants. You got 2 games versus the Dolphins, and you still got a game left on your schedule versus the Cincinnati Bengals. So, I mean, if the owner of Robbie Anderson or Jamison Crowder lost faith, I'd go out there and definitely scoop them up. And if you're really hurting at wide receiver, I'd also give Demaryius Thomas a look. All right, this is desperation time. You're talking about. You're at the end of your ropes. You have no other option. It's Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb this week. I mean, we're talking about absolute desperation plays in Tavon Austin and the rookie Cedric Wilson. But they do have a sexy deluxe matchups versus that awful Philadelphia Eagles secondary who you just watched got eaten alive by Kirk Cousins and Stephon Diggs. And it could have even been a sexier day for Diggs. He went out there and added a couple drops to his sexy deluxe day at all. So all in, if you need it, if you just need something to get you over in week 7, you're just searching for those 10 PPR points. Randall Cobb and Amari Cooper said I would go out there and look at Cedric Wilson and old dirty Tavon Austin. All right, we got some Jacoby Myers. Josh Gordon went down, he went there and got 4 for 54. He looks good. Josh Gordon looks kind of like a pile of dicks out there. I don't know. He's just not a really sharp route runner. I think all those years of smoking bongs and not giving a fuck really took their toll on Josh Gordon. I don't think he's ever going to be what we want him to be like he was in 2013. So I think the Patriots are looking to move forward, maybe looking to try something else out. And speaking of that, I think if N'Keal Harry, he's looking to come off the IR and start practicing here. If he's available in leagues, if you have a deep bench, I would look to stash him as well. I got some Auden Tate. He's probably not available. If he's still out there, I would go out there and get it sexy with him. He got 5 catches for 91 yards, a couple real sexy low to the ground reach catches, a couple real sexy grabs this last week. So if he's still available in your league, I would make him probably the #1 wide receiver priority. Because A.J. Green, I don't know if A.J. Green is going to come back this season without a new contract, and John Ross is at least out for another 6 weeks. All right, moving into some tight ends. If somehow, some way, the news last week of Hunter Henry was coming back, somehow, some way, he's still on your waiver wire, I look out there. Man, if you're a tight end needy team, I know it's just we're probably a couple games away for him re-injuring himself and being done for the season like Hunter Henry likes to do, but he did flash sexy powers out there versus the Steelers. They had like 8 for 100 and the late 2 touchdowns. I mean, if he is still out there, I would be still seriously considering throwing about 40% of my fab, 40 to 50% of my fab if I am a tight end needy team. All right, got some Luke Wilson. The fantasy death of Will Disley just happened once again. Another serious injury to Will Disley. The Seahawks are reporting they think he has torn his left Achilles, so he is definitely out for the year if that was the case. And the Seahawks also traded Nick Vannett to the Steelers early this season, so it's an all-in Luke Wilson situation. They signed him off the waivers right after they traded for Nick Vannett, and I think Luke Wilson is going to be seeing the majority of snaps for the Seattle Seahawks at tight end for the rest of the season. So if he is out there, and I mean, he should be out there. I mean, who the fuck owns Luke Wilson right now? But if you're in desperate need, look no further than your boy Luke Wilson. All right, we got Safe Space Sam Darnold out there. You know, he's got the Patriots this week, so he probably maybe can let him sit on the waiver wire for one more week. But he has super juicy games coming up. Like I said about Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder, and Demaryius Thomas. Super juicy games coming up versus the Redskins, Giants, Bengals, and twice versus the shit Dolphins out there. So, all right, you like the cut of my jib? Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. Give me a share. Any questions you got about this week's fantasy football action, put that shit down in the comment section below. I will get back to you. I always do. All right. Holla at me.
I'm hot as fuck, bitch.